Here's the best part.
Two-part epoxy balloon filler. Got like glass beads in it.
There we go. Now we're sailing.
And so Mr. Peterson wanted to keep his best shipbuilders on staff. So he had always been dreaming about a ship that would be seaworthy and that could go around the world. And so the Utopia is what he built. And so she is steel below and then transitions to wood. We're not certain why he chose that design, but it's created a very seaworthy vessel. And they left in 1947 for the maiden voyage, which was through the Mediterranean. And if you see the t-shirt that the crew has on, those are all the ports of call that she was in on that first voyage. So it's a pretty impressive sail that they did. And then in 1956, they did a 3-year round the world tour. So our next t-shirt will be the World Tour, and we'll have all the ports of call of the World Tour. So it's a very historic ship, and I think it speaks to the expertise of the Wisconsin men and women that built ships like this, and the submarines and all the other things that we built. And I think it helps remind people of the place that we have in this very important industry. And so when called to duty, they rose to the challenge and built all the ships that were necessary for the war and continued on with that. We like 6, and you'll see when we begin sailing that the guys will be very busy. There'll be times when they don't have to do anything, but when they're busy, they're running up and down. So it's a very physical job. 4 to 6, and we need a couple young strapping guys to, crank the mainsail up. So we'll motor out, and then as soon as they find the wind, then we'll raise some sails for you.
So I met Ellsworth in probably 88, 89. And he knew from day one that I was interested in owning this boat someday. And so I'd go up like once a summer to see him. And we'd have lunch. And usually we'd just go to his house. He had this beautiful home on the water on Utopia Circle. And he had a dock out front. This thing was tied up right at his house. And we'd usually have lunch and then just sit on the boat, he and I, and just tell stories all afternoon. He'd tell me all about the boat and how his dad built it. It's 2015, and I get a letter in the mailbox. You may be too young to remember those. And it's from him.
I've seen one.
And it's from Ellsworth, and he says, come to Sturgeon Bay. Well, I figured it's got to be about the boat, because he'd never written me a letter. So I went to see him, and he said, well, I'm there. I'm ready to let it go, and I know you want it. And so we spent an afternoon talking all about it. I knew a lot, but by now I'd known the boat for 25 years. And I knew that from the deck up, she was in absolutely beautiful condition, because they owned a shipyard. And so they kept her in really great shape. But I also knew that there were soft spots in the hull. And that really scared me, because this is a big boat. And if you had to rebuild this hull, what would that cost? I didn't know, but I figured it was more than I could afford. So I just couldn't pull the trigger on it. And very reluctantly just said no. And so the next year he gave it away. The best thing that ever could have happened for this boat. And, just scrolling on the phone, and I see some link to this boat, and I follow it. And it's all about the hull work. I think, wow, how cool is this? I mean, that's how I learned about it. And then there's another link, and I follow that, and it goes to a broker that's got the boat for sale. So she gets back to the hotel, and I say, well,
the best thing happened. I'm thinking he got tickets to what?
You'll never believe this, but Utopia's for sale. And I expected a certain response, which was, like not on your life. But that is not what I got. What I got was, you've loved that thing for 30 years. Do your due diligence and see what happens. And a week later, we were in Traverse City, and here we are. So that's the whole story.